Hi, I'm Gary Mehigan and you're watching Daily Mirror Life Online. I'm at the Cinnamon Grand from Thursday through to Sunday doing some delicious dinners, brunch, afternoon tea.
Tell us a little, you're doing a couple of events here at Cinnamon Grand. Tell us a little bit about what you have in store.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. I've designed a 6 and a 5 course menu, amongst other things. And yeah, they're kind of the dishes are an expression of my own extravagance, my own travels, but firmly rooted in kind of classic, French food. So that's what people can expect. But what I'm enjoying already, and I've only just jumped into the kitchen, lots of beautiful local ingredients. I'm spending half my time prepping my stuff with my team, but also wandering around the kitchen and taking little bites of things that the other chefs are doing, because it's a learning experience for me. So I've already had little lamb free, in the banana leaf with lots of little interesting things there, and sambal. And so, yeah, it's a journey for me. I kind of look at it as a dual thing. You get to eat my food and I get to eat your food. That's how it works.
I know a lot of pre-interviews you've said you're really excited to work with a little bit of the local seafood and spices.
Yeah, so local crab, lagoon crab, local lobster, local prawns, particularly. The seafood here is insane. So we've already checked in most of our ingredients this morning. And yeah, beautiful, fresh. So I'm looking, particularly the crab.
Right,
I'm really looking forward to that.
I hope you do something with the crab.
I'm doing it's a bit of a Thai inspiration, but I'm doing a crispy fish, which is a Thai preparation with the crab. I'm using Nelna mango, I think it is, which is a really sweet mango, and lots of other little things. So it's almost like it's going to be almost like a bibimbap, which is a Korean dish. Lots of little colors that you can all mix together as a salad. So we're going to do it like that.
And you're just fresh off of India, I know.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you've been over there like at least over 15 times.
Yeah, 15's bandied around. I think it's more. Like we just say 15 because I go, now I should just go, I've been a lot. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So I've been traveling backwards and forwards since 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
And normally just, it's fly in, fly out. But the last few years I've made a couple of series over there, Masters of Taste, Family Table, which has given me the opportunity to travel around. But this year's been all about all the auspicious Indian festivals.
Because we have such a close history, the two countries, do you also think our cuisines are likely to be similar? Or do you
let's find. Look, I know there are certainly differences, and I know having travelled around Tamil Nadu, there's obviously some synergies there. Yeah. There's bound to be. In fact, when people tend to think their cuisines are unique, it's often far from the truth.
So, in your opinion, since you travel so much, how do you think you can really respect the food culture of a country when you go there?
I think it's an interesting question because our global trade, and we've always had global trade, as we've just mentioned. But I think what's interesting, the movement. I think what we should be encouraging. Let's start that again. I think what we love as tourists is to find something unique in its place. So you find tomatoes all over the world. You find potatoes all over the world. And increasingly techniques. If somebody does, there's a little Malaysian teacup tart, and everybody's doing it all around the world. It's like, stop it, because you want to go to a place and have something that's just there. And I like that. And it could be ingredients, or it could be a technique, or it could be a particular thing. And that's what I enjoy most, And I don't like the idea of, it's an extension of seasonality, and it's an extension of, say, sustainability and provenance, where things should be bought and consumed locally. I love that idea because it means you can travel all over the world and have different experiences.
Yeah.
Rather than going to Italy, and I've just done it actually, where I was in Italy, I was in Florence, and everything within, that central area where all the tourists are, there's nothing unique, nothing surprising.
What is the most exotic food that you have eaten that you weren't really aware of what you were eating? So for me, it was a sea cucumber. I thought it was an exotic version of the actual cucumber.
Right. Did you like it? Yeah.
Did not.
Texture?
Not a
horrible.
And I only
Weird.
found out 2 days later when I was researching what it actually was. So what is that for you?
My worst thing was, sounds horrible when I say it, pig's throat. And it was in a soup.
Did you know
no. So I was eating this thing and just going, I don't like this. It's kind of chewy, and it was like eating a rubber balloon. And I didn't really like it. And then I said, what was that? And they said pig's throat. And I went, that explains it.
So like you said, you would eat most things. What are the limits when it comes to food? What would you?
It's the texture, right?
All right.
So things that are sulfurous. So I've been to Korea, and they love ammonia. or sulfurous type flavors. So ammonia is very attractive to them, much like, say, a blue cheese would be delicious to a Frenchman and disgusting to somebody from Japan. So there's a particular fermented fish that's got all the bones in it, and because of their cold winters, they preserve much of their stuff, like kimchi, and it's all in clay pots and buried. And so this fish becomes safe to eat because of that level of ammonia. It's a preservation technique. So when you eat it, it's so strong in ammonia, which is, for us, any smell of ammonia, don't eat it. But it's so powerful, it's a bit like putting a spoonful of wasabi, that Japanese wasabi root, in your mouth. It burns your nose. And I'm like, that's disgusting. And then they're trying to explain to me that the very sensation they like is that burning sensation in the nose of the ammonia. But isn't it interesting? So culturally appropriate, in context appropriate, they find it delicious because they've grown up with it. And so I try and convince myself that it should be the same.
Speaking of being a child, I would love to know, you've always said that food always makes you feel like a child, right? What would be your favorite childhood memory of a particular dish or a food?
There's lots of them, actually. There's lots of them. Mum was a very simple cook, but a good cook. She never gave us anything out of a packet or fast food. Like I always thought my best friend was very lucky because his mum used to buy like frozen dinners and things out of, like packet food. And we never had that. So we thought that they were eating really good stuff. Yeah, and then as we got older, we went, hang on a minute, our food was much better than that. So it could be like a big plate of spaghetti bolognese that my mum would make. And you know what, to be honest, every time she makes it, it tastes different. But because your mum makes it, it's delicious. She used to make a cheesecake that, honest to God, was different every time she made it. Sometimes it was set, sometimes...
Can you recreate that dish?
Yeah, I could if I was aiming for a particular texture. And actually, Julie Goodwin did something very similar on series 1, and we called it puddle pie because she made her cheesecake. It didn't set at all. And when I ate it, I went, "Oh my goodness, it tastes just like my mum's cheesecake." And Julie said, "Yeah, but I made a mistake." And I go, "Yeah, she used to make mistakes all the time." Food memories, for me and for most people, are again time, place, people you are with. That's what makes it special. That's why when you go on holiday and you might have a dish, I don't know, let's say you go to Italy, you buy a bottle of wine, you have a bottle of wine, and you're looking over some Tuscan landscape and, I don't know, eating some prosciutto, and that wine is the best wine you've ever had. You take a bottle home, you crack it open at home, it never tastes the same. It's missing all the other important kind of touchy-feely things that, combined with that food, fix a memory in your brain.
Speaking of, if you could relive one dish
all
over again,
wowza.
to experience it for the first time, what would it be? Talking about.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of occasions that have brought a tear to my eye. Sounds weird. People that are, an engineer and I don't know, love trains or motorcycles won't get it, but people that love food might get this. But some things make the hair on the back of your head stand up or bring a tear to your eye. And about 5-6 years ago, I was in a restaurant called Antico Corta Pallavicino, which is in Parma, or in a place called Zibello, which is outside of Parma in Italy. And there's a lovely chef called Massimo Spigarelli, and he makes culatello, and it's called Culatello di Zibella. It's the only place that can be branded that, Culatello di Zibella. And it's like the butt of the pork. It's like prosciutto, but it's a different cut. And he ages it from 1 to 5 or 4 years. When you put it in your mouth, it just kind of, just goes, la, and the angels sing. And it's this kind of wonderful, chemistry of, bugs and molds and all sorts of things that just turn really what is a chunk of meat into something extraordinary.
I mean, also beyond food and cooking, I know you're a really proud dog dad. And
I'm a good dog dad.
You really love tending to your garden. So what is an official off day like for you,
It's that, to be honest. Like it's I love motorcycles. I've got a couple of motorbikes. I've ridden since I was, 16 years old. I've got a couple of big dogs. Like Fergus is a Great Dane. He's about this big. He's 85 kilos. And so, the simple things are, I've never chased publicity. It's not that I'm trying to avoid it, but it's not something that my tribe are more grounded. I've always found that working as a chef for so long and being in hospitality so long, I gravitate towards warm, generous, nice people. That's
all right, because I can see the time is also wrapping up. Just to wrap up, what are you looking forward to over your next few days?
I'm looking forward to meeting and feeding a lot of people. I mean, that's why I said yes. And I'm looking for, like I said, I want to feed people my food, and I want to eat. I don't know, if I go home without. I've already asked one of the chefs in the kitchen for a recipe.
All right.
So if I go home, without a few recipes in my pocket, I'll be upset. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to a break at the end of it. So we're going up to Kandy, and we're doing like a big loop, coming back on part of the railway. We're coming back down to Bendota and then down to Gaul. So hopefully I get a nice little snapshot. And I'm kind of hopeful that Sri Lanka becomes my new favourite place and a regular visitor. But just on holiday. I don't want to work too much.
Fingers crossed. I really hope you enjoy your stay here.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to the dinner.
Super. Great.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Yeah.